I hope you're as excited as I am, because I am through the roof excited about tonight. I am Dr. Renita. I am an educational leadership strategist, author, wife, mother of 4. I am a speaker, a trainer. I'm an educator. I am super duper excited. I am also the founder of The Refining Life, a nonprofit organization dear to my heart. We're in our 7th year now. And I am ecstatic tonight to bring to you somebody, Yolanda Mercy Jones, and the crowd goes wild.
Hello. How are you?
Time to dedicate this time to really touching pen to paper, doing my budget, reviewing my budget, figuring out why I was spending so much money, figuring out what things I needed to do to help me so that
I was supposed to have. So I don't go out and recruit. I don't go out and, ask people to work here. In fact, I have turned down many people who have inquired about working at Homogeny, because if I get the wrong person within this firm, then there goes the mission. There goes everything that I've worked.
Entrepreneurs, speaking with them about, they want to leave this legacy. They want to be able to, give back to their children if they were to pass it, all these different things. But they would always say, but this, but that, but this, and it's like, well, when do you make the decision that your child's future, your future is more important than anything else? Well, I began to understand that it was a mindset shift that needed to take place.
But it's very true. That's where my hope is anchored. So yes, I find peace in the midst of fear.
It'd be a little different if there was a bunch of different types, of standards kind of put before us that kind of mirrored the real world. But that's not usually what happens. Usually it's one type of look or one type of skin tone, one type of hair, something that's kind of pushed to the forefront.
It starts with the missing who. So I would say that falling in love with that part of my own personal process, understanding that there's always going to be a missing who about Kennedy. There's going to be a part of myself that I've not seen activated yet because it's not been called on. There's a part of something inside, whether it's ideas, whether it's a part of, what my giftings are, or any of that. I feel like there are opportunities that we have to activate those things on the inside. And that's a part of the process. That's a part of falling in love again with what we started talking about, falling in love with you.
There she is, Melissa Jordan. Hey, it's Melissa. Hey, it's Melissa.
We up in the room, darling. I'm ready. I'm here for it. Oh, we up in the room. So am I. And I'm like, girl, that's a preach leading through the dismantle. I'm about to preach, because that's a whole word, leading through the dismantle. Honey, that's and to be honest, Renita, the good leaders, the impactful leaders have figured out how to lead through the dismantling process, right? They figured out, because when you got followers, you got followers. And if you come to know, if you come to realize that there's some dismantling that needs to happen, you don't just throw your followers to the wayside. You got to figure out how to still meet their needs in the midst of whatever process.
When we don't see the evidence of ourselves and others, when it is our job to plant the seed,
right,
and it'll grow at its own pace. Because even every rose has a similar seed, but it does not have all the same petals.
So, bomb.com.org.net. Take the time to get ready. So when you need to be ready, you're already ready.
That's a quotable right there. I don't know whoever's watching, if this is the replay or you're watching us live, but I hope your
support. And sometimes that support is financial. Sometimes that support is just, a pep talk. Sometimes it is you being there and actually doing acts of service. So that's what I'm saying. Tell the other person what you need individually and as the business person, so that this way it runs smoother, because it is not the easiest thing to start your own business. It's not the easiest thing, even once it gets successful, because you need to keep chasing the success in a way, right? Because you want to keep doing more great things. You want more money, more clients, more influence. So you have to be selfish up front and tell the person what you need as an individual. And this is what the company needs. That conversation is a real come to Jesus meeting, so to speak. So have that conversation. You know, if you're like, I don't like this, tell them what you don't like. Okay, well, I need such and such. Okay, well, then I'm going to make sure that you have it. To me, that's the important part, because then everything else flows perfectly after that, or you want it to. And it will flow much better, but you have to have that conversation.
So to attack them is probably the wrong thing to do, right? To say, I can't believe you did this to me. And they're like, wait a minute, what did I do? Right? A lot of times people don't even remember that they said something to you that was offensive, which is why I say don't wait too long so that they can reference back to a conversation. But, you know, approaching it with, you know, even saying, I'm about to be vulnerable a little bit. I want to have this conversation. I think people will respect that space and understand, okay, well, this is not just a, hey, how are you doing conversation. You know, starting off with saying something you said the other day didn't sit well with me or didn't feel right. By using language like that, you're not necessarily pointing the finger that they did something wrong. You're just saying that I didn't like that conversation style or those words. For me, it affected me.
We had to roll out. And I said, well, what are we going to do? She just needed time. So we got an ice cream, and we went and sat at the parking lot over there at University and looked at the murals on the wall and ate our ice cream, and we just caught up. I'm saying, so what's going on in the second grade? Tell me, girl, what y'all doing? What y'all talking about? Math? Yes. Let's do some timetables. And give her my undivided attention. And sometimes you got to do it.
Wow. So you are a wonderful picture of priority. You are also a picture of the non-existence of balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think that there's any way in the world you can give your all to all of those and be balanced at the same time. Something is not getting 100% at that time.
Absolutely.
And I'm learning that. So touching back to what you said was the fact that your husband said to you when you had that moment, it's about time.
He says, time. We're finally.
Right. It's amazing how other people can see it.
See my weariness. And even tonight, and we're laughing at the dinner table, he was like, you're grouchy. He said, you may not even know how grouchy you were. And I said, I didn't. I said, but I knew I was on the edge and I could feel myself. And I was like, I'm off. I'm on the edge. Something's going on. I didn't know that I was experiencing system overload, that I was reaching my breaking point. And he was like, well, I'm so glad you finally realizing. And I said, I gotta relax. I gotta pause. I gotta breathe, and I gotta reset, so that I don't get to that point again. And that's where we are now. I'm gonna work on my stress, get my stress down.
Into a space
I can't do it
that
all.
is peace. We don't get that in noise. We only get that. See, a lot of folks, you know, I don't want to, we get afraid when we are alone or by ourselves and it's quiet. But that's the gift of that, ladies, is really solitude. It's peace that comes from internal, that comes from a spiritual place, whatever that is for you. And so I encourage you to seek that, because when you do, your ability to lead in whatever capacity you are has now been heightened, because you're now
didn't
more
even listed. I think a whole lot of us have. And that is a keen sense of observation.
Yes.
And I think some of it is a little bit of female intuition that sometimes we don't want to trust, but you will observe things. And when you observe them, take note of them. I think, you know, one of the things that Dr. Maya Angelou said that I just live in.
I'm right with you.
I'm just living in it. When people show you and tell you who they are.
Yes.
All you can do is believe them. Believe them. Believe them. They will show you and they will tell you. And sometimes if it's not in the telling, if they can't even articulate it, just watch their behavior. They'll show you.
It was that Windex window.
Yeah, no one saw this coming. You know, we might have thought, you know, something might happen, but no one saw it coming to the degree that we're in it now.
Right.
No one saw it to this degree. No one. I think I can be pretty certain in saying
I
no
think
one.
even researchers who thought they predicted it, I don't know that they predicted it at this moment. And when maybe when they first found out, they were like, "Ooh."
Right. No one expected us to be a year in and still be where we are. I think I can be certain and say that, you know. So we've hit the wall. And whether, you know, we realize or want to acknowledge that we've hit the wall, you know, we hit the wall. And I think it shifted us all in some way, shape, or form. It could have been a good shift. It could have been a turbulent shift. It could have been a bad shift. But we've all shifted in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. And when you think back to that, you know, fulfillment, I think the most recent statistic was like 86% of people at work are unfulfilled and disengaged. And you think, well, I often think, of course they are, because if you're sitting on the wrong seat on the bus, because you think you're supposed to be, you know, in this place, but you're really meant to be over here, of course you're not going to be engaged because you're not using the things that were meant to bring you alive. And I often hear God say to me, you know, my gift will provide. My gift provides, because, you know, you can get so wrapped up in what, you know, worrying about what's going to happen and what's going to be the outcome. But ultimately, you've been given everything that you need if you're willing to activate it. But that takes faith. It takes discipline. It takes a whole lot of leadership.
Does not level the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
What levels the playing field is, like you said, my experience. It's my expertise. It's my knowledge. It's me understanding that I walk with the Holy Spirit and that He is going to give me certain pieces of information that He's not giving to anybody else, that I can use to help better whatever the organization, the environment, the project that I'm working on, that God has assigned to me in this particular environment.
Like they aren't gonna, it's not gonna work without me here, you know, but it does.
But it does.
And it is, and it's working. And I had to get beyond myself. I didn't feel like that was me having one of those, you know, prideful moments. It wasn't something I did all the time. But you are so right. Leaders aren't selfish. You want to see other people lead. I didn't. There were so many times where I didn't want to take the credit for any of that. I wanted the people that were in front of me to shine. I want those students to shine.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. So if they know before 9:30, 10 o'clock, I will give them all of me. After that, I can't help you. I can't. Don't wake me up because you got to go pee.
It was an expensive hobby easily for 6-7 years until I changed my mind about how to do business.
Okay, so let's park there for a second.
Yeah.
How many years did you say it was a very expensive hobby?
About 7, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So the other piece that maybe you went to a Corinthians page and you learned that love is patient.
You know, no, actually, I'm gonna tell you what happened. What happened was, I'm competitive by nature.
Mm-hmm.
I don't compete against anybody else but myself. And I don't care to compete with anybody else but myself, right? Like, I am my best and worst enemy.
Right. Leaders cultivate others. Right? Leaders cultivate others. What are you leading? Who are you leading if you come in and everything is still a hot mess after you leave? Right? You know what I mean? Think about one of the best things that I think a leader can do. When I say a most effective leader comes into a place and they watch, they observe, and they identify the talents of others.
Well, they shut up and listen.
You shut up and because you got to do that. In order to see other people's talents, you got to shut up and listen. So you shut up and listen. And you say, okay, you're good at this. You're good at this. You got to do. And then, of course, you don't just go with your own observation. You talk to people and you say, well, I see. It looks like you really enjoy creating budgets. Is that something you really like? Yes, I really love that. Okay, great. You're part of the team, and this is what you want to do on the team, right? You put together a team, right? An effective leader has a team. An effective leader doesn't do everything by themselves. Right. An effective leader builds a team They build a team, and then they let everybody play to their strengths. They let everybody play to their strengths, and you sit there and you be like, yes, you just killed that. That budget that you created yesterday was the bomb diggy. I don't even know how you do it, sis, but let me tell you something.
You better budget. Let that life live you. You know what I mean? We get to that point. We get to that point where sometimes we're just in the same old routine over and over and over again. And you feel like, oh my gosh, life is passing me by. It's not. And if it is, the only problem is you're not grabbing a whole passing you by. You got to grab them little pieces and put them into play.
We in the US, we cannot imagine a life where like we cannot express ourselves or be individual, you know? And in a lot of places outside of the US, that is not necessarily the culture. And speaking out or speaking your mind or speaking up about everything is a lot. It can actually go against the culture. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting because, you know, in this job, you're looking at the bigger picture, right? And I often have to remind myself, who am I? I'm a singular person. Who am I? Okay, at times to take my own personal opinion and somehow insert it into a policy position that affects millions of people.
How are you calling yourself a leader if you're not changing individuals? How can you be a leader if you're not helping those get to the next level, identifying their skills, identifying their abilities, the areas in which they're strong at, so that they can supersede and they can excel even their own expectations? So quite often, many times, leaders build.
So I'm blessed that I'm always having these wonderful conversations, and I feel like one of my superpowers is the ability to connect with people and to make them feel comfortable and that they can share with me because I'm transparent and I share myself. And because of that, I just wanted to be able to duplicate that all over the world and share these wonderful conversations that I get to have with people just by being Sandra DuBose.
He said, because you don't know nothing. He said, you went through a pandemic and figured it out. You pretty much had that Zoom on mute. And you was looking in there when they checked in, you just said yes. You didn't learn. He said, I needed you to know that you know that you know. So you didn't get it the first go around. I was like, fine, I'll study second time. And I was like, oh God, okay, let me it's gonna be the one. I had prayed over it and everything. You know, I had a little water and everything. I had told the pastor to pray over me, and but didn't do any real studying to kind of make sure that I knew that I knew. I did a little bit of catch-up studying. I tried to look over the things that I thought I missed. And when I came out, I remember saying, "Why, God, why? If you love me, Lord, you know what I'm going through." And he was like, you don't know nothing. And I was like, but I do though. Like, I know that this means this. And I know that if I go into a real estate situation, I'm the buyer's agent. And he's like, no. There's some other things I need you to know. No. So I went in that third time. I went in there like David with Goliath. I was about to knock this thing out. Y'all was so cocky in this test. I was sitting in there. I was chuckling at how good I knew that. I was like, I know that. I know it. I'm trying to catch that mosquito. Y'all, it's still in here. But so I knew that I had passed that test, y'all. I have never felt so confident in my life. And when that pass, fail came up, fail, I was like, what? You're supposed to be quiet, but I didn't.
That's so important. So like you said with triggers, that can be a trigger for someone. And I would not even know that. And you talk about Myers-Briggs, you know, I'm still a firm believer on finding out how people learn because it impacts how I give feedback to them. I was speaking with a faculty member yesterday in my real job, guys, you know how you got them real jobs. And so she had a question about a student. And I thought what she was asking me. But I'm like, okay, she's not asking the right question because I'm all about asking the right question. Because if you can figure out what the right question is, you'll get the answer that
show
you're
that repeatable, pattern of behavior to show that, okay, she really means that, or that person really means that. Therefore, when it's time for some really big, disruptive thing, that I know that I can speak my mind and I can have a different opinion or offer different ideas or say that this is a terrible idea, and it's
I believe in stacking your deck, right? When you're stepping all the way in. When I say stack your deck, this is my concept of volunteer to take on those major projects without expecting to be paid more money. Right? Well, you are, and money will come. So when it's time for someone to be promoted, they're going to say, hey, you remember when Renita led that very successful project for us? That's how you get noticed. That's how you do more than lean in. You step all the way in and
wait
you stack
to be
your
vulnerable, because I feel like sometimes if you wait, then it could backfire on you.
If you a snoozy, I'm a snoozy. If you are a phone on the toilet, I'm a phone on the toilet. I need help, and I need to acknowledge these things so I can fix them. You won't fix what you don't acknowledge. You won't clean what you don't realize is messy. Open up about it. Be real.
Yes. Yeah. Make a plan. Make a plan to get organized. Don't try to get organized overnight. It takes baby steps, just like anything else, from you starting a business to you starting a new project at work to hiring someone and teaching them the ropes. It takes baby steps. So don't think, okay, oh my God, I done watched this leadership live. I'm about to, everybody, let's do it. We're going to do it all right now. We're going to make a schedule. We're going to
other people that you're not a leader.
See, did y'all see the eyes? Did y'all see the eyes? Okay, so imagine. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
But, so as you all have heard, LaVon did not consider herself a leader. And I think that when you're dealing with other people who are desiring leadership and you're in a place of leadership and you refuse to acknowledge said leadership position, that is a fire. So I will ask you, in all the years that you led, prior to finally acknowledging your leadership superpower, how did you do that?
I think it was a matter of everyone that I've worked with or that I do work with, I try to walk alongside of them because I'm going to learn something from them also. So I think that it, never thought of it as being a leader, as bringing them to something or helping them get to the next level. It's just us working together to be able to get to that next level. So walking aside people, not necessarily feeling like I had to lead them and be before them. Everything that I'm building is basically through helping other businesses come up. So it's not necessarily that I'm leading them. We're assisting each other to go to the next level.
I feel like that I am a pretty vulnerable person, but it hasn't always been that way. And I think that even in that, extending compassion to yourself is what opens up, I feel, that vulnerability. And so for me, it's easier because I'm learning. And when I say learning, I mean learning still how to be compassionate with myself. So as I am compassionate with myself, I am allowing those walls and those boundaries and those things that I have up, those preconceived notions, those insecurities, all of those things to come down so that I can be vulnerable. I think that even back to the boundaries thing, I think that I actually have had to learn more so how to create those boundaries in my vulnerability, because I'm the type of person that if I'm in this and we're in this thing, then, you can have as much of me as you pursue. So it's like, I'm an open book. I don't have anything to hold back, but I also realize that everybody doesn't deserve every part of you. And so learning that in itself has really been the part that has been hard for me.
Think about it. Disney on Ice. We've been going to Disney on Ice since we were 1 year old. Goodness gracious, how many times can we see Mickey Mouse do an aerial thingy. And we're like,
Look, if Mickey Mouse keep kicking those legs up, we're gonna keep going to see Mickey Mouse.
Exactly. With the little spin ball, we're like,
oh yeah. You light up and spinning fast. Oh, come on.
Yeah, and then you have the one with like little things like stick out.
Oh, you know yeah, with the little what are they called? Fiber optics.
I don't know what it is. But yeah, anyway,
we're with it.
It's not going anywhere. Like, we are live events. We are here and we are not going anywhere. Lo and behold.
I'm so thankful for all these experiences because it taught me how to be adaptable because I had no choice. It was forced upon me. So I actually got to this point where I was very comfortable with change. I didn't like it, right? When I became an entrepreneur, that decision, it didn't mean I didn't have fear. I had a lot of fear. And that's the thing with a lot of people who are kind of, because I know some of your listeners are probably, some are entrepreneurs, some want to be entrepreneurs, some have their side hustles, some want to do that, but don't know what. And so there's a period of transition. But here's the thing, when you want to do something different, when you don't want to do something big in your life, it's going to feel uncomfortable. And there's going to be some massive changes that have to start from the inside outside. You know, something I always say is like the new you can, the old you can never make new money. If you want to attract financial abundance in your life, you can't just be the same old, same old. That's what the majority of Americans do. It's the same old, same old. And so change is a requisite. If you want to be a leader, change is a required component of becoming a leader. Because
but I'm like, wait, do I really want to do that? And so I think just having that curiosity and that questioning of, am I really doing what I want to be doing is so important. And it's making me kind of step back and think about, just the type of person that I want to be. And, in leadership, kind of like the main point of this broadcast is being a leader. You've got to have your own style.
Look ahead, not just for today, the moment, but to look to the future. So if you even just look inside, most people say, well, I'm not a leader. Well, if you have a family,
your leadership skills and your leadership abilities you should really show those abilities on your kids, not on your kids, but showing your kids how to be a leader, because they're going to be what? Your future.
Absolutely.
And if you're not showing them how to be a leader now, who's going to?
You better drop them facts, because that is applicable to everything, from marriage, ministry, professional, all of it. Yeah. If I'm thinking we're going to Harris Teeter, but you think we're going to Food Line, and I didn't communicate where we're going, what direction we're supposed to be taking, I can't get mad at you when you're not at Harris Teeter because I didn't tell you. How can I hold you accountable?
They tend to be seen as, mean, a bully, all those bad things that they tell me that I am. Some of the people who don't understand me, but those who get to know me, they realize I'm not being mean. I'm being very direct. I'm telling you things that's going to step on your toes, and it's probably honest. I'm just, it's your truth. You just don't want to admit it. I want you to understand that what I'm saying to you is, something that if whatever I say to you, you'll know where I stand.
That is true.
It pretty much at any given time, you know where I stand. Some people say you don't have a filter. No, it's not that. It's not that I don't have a filter. I can keep my mouth closed if I wanted to, but I just need you to know how I feel about the situation.
Hold on to things with both hands and expect to get anything new. You've got to release something. So why not release the distractions, release the things that get on your nerves, the things that cause you stress, because the things that cause you stress are causing you to gain weight. Then you complain about the gaining weight, then the weight gain is causing other problems for you. You're complaining about the stress because then it's causing headaches or it's causing you not to be able to eat. So then that's causing other issues with your body.
Yeah.
That's causing issues in relationships with other people because you're walking around hangry all the time. That's causing malnutrition issues in your body. So then your hair is thinning, or that you're having other issues, and you have to reflect about that. And where did it stem from? Where did it stem from? Where does it stem from? It stems from you getting up every single morning, frustrated, already not wanting to go to the place that you have to go to. You're watching some of your peers that are now staying on remote working, and you have to go into an office space as this pandemic continues to teeter-totter around you.
And once I saw what I could really do, what she could do with God,
right,
I realized that when it says all things are possible,
tell you
it's
that
real.
I did not realize how me working with my hands and making things and having these ideas got me to this point until I looked back. At the time, I didn't think I did anything special. I thought y'all don't make skirts out of jeans, like y'all ain't doing this. But then I was like, I've always made a business out of it. I used to sell jeans out of my dorm. I would tell people, bring me your jeans, pay me $5, I turn it into a skirt. I used to do that out of my dorm. I crocheted hats. I would crochet hats for the guys, and I would sell them out of my dorm room. And at the time, it was just what Bobby did, like, what's she doing now? That's what people, But I was really like prepping myself for
Entertainment
this
thing, right?
moment.
Entertaining how I know how, and that's making sure that you just handle people appropriately. That hey, come on, it was the way that you said that, right? Let's snap back around with it, or let's make sure that if it don't make sense, that we like, come on, that's just not right. Let's be real with ourselves so we can be real
where I'm
with
from
each
or the
other.
work I've done. And I can't count it, how many times they have said, like, we didn't know those issues were happening. We didn't know that this was going on. So I saw that there was a disconnect. And so there needs to be somebody standing in the gap. And if that had to be me, then it has to
don't even
be
realize, because I think the first time my daughter said that she saw me cry was at a funeral. And that it struck me. I was really surprised because I cry all the time. I get sad about things all the time. So for her to not even see that part of me, she just felt like I was just strong. Like, you're not scared of anything and nothing bothers you, girl. If you only knew, like, every day I'm hoping that I'm doing this thing right. From going to work every day to retiring early, to starting businesses. I mean, it's just all, really, I can honestly say that a lot of it was for her. And because of her is where I am. And because of her, I guess I was brave enough to do some of the things that I've done. Because I want her to see a strong example, and I want her to know that what you want to do, you can do it. You can try, you can go after it. And if you believe it, you claim it, and you work at it, it will happen for you.
I would say one of the things that I love about myself, but can kind of be difficult, is I care a lot about what other people, what their experience is like. You know what I mean? These are the people that are technically my employees in a sense, right? Or they're in the salon that I'm owning. So it is up to me to be that leader. So be able to make the right decision. And especially in an atmosphere or in a climate that a lot of people are afraid of. So I had to be the one, walking around the salon saying, hey, pull your mask up. I had to be that person where people might have looked, with a side eye or,
who she thinks she is, or hey, get away from me, I don't want to put my mask up, or the person that said, look, if you don't want to wear your mask, you have to go. And it's not just for your protection, it's for everybody else's protection in here, and their safety and their comfortability. We had a crazy influx of clients come to our salon after the pandemic. When they came back, it was like our clientele revved up so crazy. And one of the things I would ask them is, what led you to the salon? And one of the first things they said was, somebody told me what your guys' protocol was here. So we felt comfortable coming here. Or, I was going to this place and they weren't wearing their masks appropriately and I didn't feel comfortable. Or, people who would bring their parents there saying, I know they go to a salon, but they're not wearing their mask properly. So I wanted them to go to a place that I knew that they would feel comfortable, they would feel safe, and they wouldn't have a problem because of the way you all were being leaders in this industry during this moment in life.
But please believe when you advocate for your child and you stand up for your child, there's no limits to that. That mama bear comes out. That's it. That lioness comes out. The daddies come out.
Yeah.
But it's the way, you got to maneuver it the right way.
You got to pour your energy in it at the right time. And I'm
as
so
always,
glad.
keep your leadership all the way live. Bye.